Good day and welcome back to another Vampire Survivors video. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about a Darkasso, Victorian Horror, and try something a little bit different with the video and see how we can use Victorian Horror to the best of our abilities. So Victorian Horror is Darkasso number 18. You unlock it by winning a Green Acres stage on inverse difficulty on 30 minutes without using any weapons, which I have a video on. I'll leave a link to. Basically, Victorian Horror is essentially very similar to other magnet-based abilities or other area of effect abilities. Think of things like, garlic, for example. It scales off of greed and amount. So it scales a lot off of greed and amount. But magnet is very important and area is also very important, as both will increase its area. But the damage is based entirely on greed. Because of that, it makes a lot of sense if you are talking about using it properly to use it on characters that gain greed. For example, if we take a look at Ambrosia, so if we take a look at the Ambrosia character, he starts with quite a bit of greed. So if you look at his stats, you can see that he's got quite a big greed buff there. Very, very solid. Most characters will start with a base 50%. He starts with 20% up. The best character to use this on, though, is going to be Trouser. So the reason why I say Trouser is because Trouser starts with, okay, this is obviously a very souped up version, so we'll remove the eggs. But Trouser starts with 70% greed, which is very, very, very crucial. Incredibly helpful, actually, overall, because he also gains +1 greed as well every single level. So he gets a greed every single level. He also has gold fever, etc. So to use it properly, honestly, not too much. If you know how the base stats work, you don't have to worry too much about it. We'll just go to the dairy plant. We'll take it on endless hyper. I think we'll take. So remember that gold bonus is different from greed. Greed increases the amount you get from gold drops and things. How it also works is basically you will get additional boosts based on the enemy that drops. So you get cursed soul pickups, which you'll see just now, and these increase our stats as well. They also increase our curse, so we need to have a character that can scale well. In terms of weapons, obviously you would want to choose ones that scale off of greed. The only real one that kind of springs to mind is obviously the Gatiamari, but it isn't something that I think is massively great. Of course, we want to stick to, as a passive, Stone Mask, which is super duper important. In terms of Stone Mask, there isn't too much that we have in terms of the base game. If you look at the base game, it really is only Gatiamari. So we'll take Gatiamari. Victorian Horror, really, really awesome. We'll take it. Obviously, we don't want to evolve Gatiamari too early, but you can see it creates a base effect here, which is pretty nice. Now what we're going to do is obviously look at picking up basically greed. We'll look at picking up Attractor Orb is good because it will increase the range. And you can see here, there we go, perfect, Stone Mask. You can see here immediately, right off the bat, how quickly this is scaling. We're going to leave that Armadillo for now, but we're looking for greed. We're looking for area is also fine. Stone Mask is always good because of that scalability. Attractor Orb is also good. We're going to look for pretty much anything of that nature, and the Mount is also very, very good. So once we have all of those, then we're going to be looking very good. You can see that everything is scaling up quite nicely. Just to see if we can get, obviously Crown could be good, anything like that is fine. We'll take the cats, just get the cats going. But yeah, as you can see, we're getting these little hearts that are popping up, these little purple hearts. So much like the frozen hearts, crystallized souls, these give us additional stats based on the enemies we're defeating. So you can see, for example, our greed is up to 97%. Depending on the enemies we defeat, this will increase our max HP, it will increase our greed, and it will increase our curse. So there's a lot of value in terms of like grabbing these hearts and making it work really, really nicely. We've got the area effect on the stage, so we'll probably grab that from there as well. But yeah, Stone Mask, Greed is crucial because of the extra damage that it does. You can see already pretty big. If we look at our max health as well, and just watch it for a bit, we can see maybe how quickly it goes up. We'll take a Clover, just because. See, it's only 135. Let's go pick up a little bit more. We're going to take the cats again. Still 135. You can see the hearts going up a little bit. Now 136. So the stat gain is not, I want to say, massive. You're not getting like a huge, quick stat gain. You're not, becoming insane off the bat. But you can get pretty well stacked, depending obviously on how crazy you get with it. I think is important. So there we go. Amount, super duper good. And because of that, obviously, when we say like amount and things, yeah, generally, of course, we're now looking for, we'll take a revive. But you can see, look how big that field is getting. But the damage kind of obviously is going to drop off at a certain point. So you have to obviously be mindful of that and kind of build around that. Spinach is also very good just to help scale up the damage, as we said. Lovely. So just to get that flat scale up of damage. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to grab the area. And then we have a very, very, very good, very strong kind of flat boost. And you can see our max HP going up a little bit, but again, not huge max HP boosts. Again, these are not ridiculously large max HP boosts. We're not, ramping up ridiculously quick. I think we'll take one of the new abilities, perhaps, just to try it out. But yeah, basically, and with that, with your greed build, you want to kind of build into things. You've got amount, you've got area, you've got size. So you're looking for maybe books, you're looking for maybe garlic, you're looking for anything to kind of accumulate with that area of effect that you have. Song of Mana is not too bad. I like books a lot with this. I think it's just one of those really nice synergistic ones, because then you also get the knockback, giving you a little bit of kind of breathing space. So I really like books with this. Everything else, it just depends on what you're kind of taking and what you're focusing on. But yeah, ultimately at the end of the day, I think it's a fun little Darkasso. I think it's got a lot of really interesting kind of build design behind it. The damage is not so insane that it can carry you the whole way, but it's interesting to build into and ramp up, and you can see it's having its effects. We'll take one more in the cats. Obviously, if you evolve the cats, if you really scale up your greed, if you're constantly building into greed, like we are here, and we'll just take that area. So now we've got big area. All that is really good stuff. All of that is really, really good. It's a great build, and you can see we're chipping away. Obviously, on inverse, your margins for damage gain are very, very small. You need to have incredibly consistent damage gain, and I don't think this build, the way it is giving you the damage that you're necessarily looking for. But it's not a bad build by any means. It's just one that has some limitations. And yeah, it's a lot more fun if you can kind of get the trigger. What is nice is obviously if you get the next Rendasmo, you get kind of like obviously that boost effect. You can start to really get a little bit crazy with it. And I think that's where it gets super duper exciting. So yeah, overall I'd say a pretty fun Darkasso. Nice scalability. I'm not entirely certain on the long-term scalability. You can see here we've gained like 4 curse. Obviously we're still relatively low in the grand scheme of the run, so it's not like a massive issue. We can take an Armadillo. We could take a Torina's box. That's also fine. Anything that's giving us extra enemies, extra gold, extra this, extra that. Canna is also a good one, I think, as well. You can see their area, duration, projectile speed. Like I said, books is just really something I love on this. So if you're looking for like a great weapon, get books. Books are great. And yeah, you can really chip away. I mean, look how big our area of effect is. We're going to pick up another attractor orb. We're going to pick up, we might as well pick up Victory Sword. Look how big that area of effect is. Axes is also great. You're getting a ton of like good synergy with axes. And yeah, easy build. Obviously here we've taken out all the eggs. It's a nice one. I'm not saying it's OP, but it's a nice one with the amount of area you can build up, the amount you can build up with the Darkassos and things that you can get with the strength of the build that you can get. And if you can scale well enough, you also have some really good scalability with it, especially on this character who gains so much greed, and how effective that is and how impactful it is. And you can see there, every time we get low on health, that's what I wanted to see, we get that little kind of burst, and all of a sudden we're healed up, and it's really helpful. So yeah, for me, very, very cool. 10 out of 10 kind of build, for an interest point of view, I guess. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Have you used a build like this? Have you thought of a build like this? Have you tried this Darkasso? Is it worth the effort? It's a bit difficult always to say. How can I say? It's hard to say. Like, is it entirely worth the effort? I don't know. It's a difficult one to incorporate, especially when you go way too hard into the passives instead of going into your weapons to show off the build. But yeah, essentially, especially with a character like this, you can make the build work because of that scalability of greed, because of everything working potentially very nicely. It is something that can work. It just depends on where you kind of head with it. But overall, I'd say Darkasso is fun. It can make for some interesting builds, I think, on the greed characters. But yeah, there you go. See, and that can kick in every revive as well, which is pretty cool. Again, it's just dependent. In terms of this, also, just as like a heads up, you can obviously grab the scaling greed. So, like, if you look, you have the one like this that scales between greed, and that's obviously also, there we go. So because of that, you can start to really scale up, and when that greed doubles, your damage effectively doubles. So like, while this obviously all this XP is up, okay, great, of course, but then the moment you hit that greed section, that's when you're really starting to kind of scale upwards, and yeah, you can really take advantage of that quite well. So I think there we go, Victorian Horror, which is great with all that revive mechanic. You can see how much health now we're gaining from it. Let's just up our skills here. Trying to get that, yeah, and you can see there how much damage we started doing with the double peak. And of course you then have the scalability. Now, with the character the way he is, with no golden eggs, you're going to have some mitigating factors. But I think overall, it's a fun concept to build into. I wouldn't really work solely through it, because I think you can get a lot more interesting things, so to say. But I think overall, it's really quite good. And yeah, you can take advantage of that Victorian Horror there. Super duper awesome. And you can get your revives and get your abilities and get your everything. I think you can have a good time. And yeah, there you go. You got your Gatia Mari now. You get your lightning ring, and all of a sudden things are looking a little bit better. So yeah, it just depends, I think, on where you get luck. And like there you go, you see that greed spiking. All of a sudden we're doing so much extra damage. Yeah, it's a fun build. I'm not gonna say it's OP, but it is really cool. That's it for me. Bye.